again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome into another match day. It's another match day ticket with me, your host. No games off here, my friends. We are here, win, lose or draw, rain or shine, come hell or high water. We are the show that delivers every single match day. I sadly can't speak for the team. However, it is an interesting lineup, and I'm really looking forward to pulling it apart with everybody. I can see the chat is absolutely flying off already. It's really going wild in the chat. I love that. So get going in that chat and let's get talking about today's team news. On the jukebox this evening is, of course, John and Louis, Don't Stop the Cavalry. We've got Miley Cyrus's We Can't Stop and Down by Jay Sean, which is similar to what our league position is doing. On the tap this evening in the bar of Talking Town is Dobra Delivers, Nolo, Oh No, and Cornell's Welsh Wizard. And joining me in supping the pints this evening is, first of all, the man, the myth, the legend. Finally joined us, a bit late, but no one will ever know, well, until I told him, Mr. Neil Moles. Welcome in.
Hello there.
How you doing?
Right?
Just to let everybody know at home, you are on an away day. You are in London, so you're using the Premier Inn Wi-Fi. So you may come and you may go. But how is life treating Mr. Moles?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good. And also joining us is your partner in crime. Go on.
It will mostly depend on how this evening goes.
Well, it's an interesting lineup.
And I'm not confident.
I could have said it's almost a man drinking in the last chance saloon. I don't know. But joining us for this evening's matchday ticket for the Oxford game is, of course, Mr. Steve Thompson. Steve, Oxford away today. It's a big game. You looking forward to it?
Are you sure it's Oxford? I thought it was Hull.
No, it's Oxford. Hull was last week.
I just got my booklet through the post today, so I'm sure it's Hull.
A week.
Oh, yeah. It's taken a week to get to me. What's all that about?
What did Lambert say in that programme? Because I can tell you it won't come true.
No, absolutely not. Probably be something about doing Hull over, but come on, a week after the game, I finally get my pre-match programme. Love it.
There you go.
Yeah, mental.
I'm not to blame for slow mail. Let's get into. I'll tell you what will be coming thick and fast is the chats. I love them. I'll get them on the screen in a second. Let's jump into today's team news. Ignore the dabbing Santa. He's having fun.
Why is there a dabbing Santa?
Why is there not a dabbing Santa? It's the 1st of December. It's the 1st of December. So a 4-2-3-1 lineup, gentlemen. So Cornell in goal, Chambers, Wolfenden, McGuinness and Ward. The revolving door at centre-half continues. We'll talk about that in a second. Andre in midfield with Nolo. Oh no. Bennett's on the right. Lancaster central, Dobra on the left. And Aaron Drynan up the front. Do not adjust your sets. Do not adjust your screens. Do not adjust anything. Because yes, Dobra is playing. Yes, Drynan is starting ahead of Hayden Jackson. Yes, we've got another centre-half. Where do we start with this one? Should we start with Dobra? Are you happy with it? I'm not happy with it. I'll be honest.
I don't know. I'd start Jackson over Dobra. Drennan, sorry. Really happy to see Dobra starting. Trouble is, some of our players, some of our midfield now are so thin on the ground, isn't it? To be honest, I'm not a Nolan fan, but I'd rather him start at the minute because we need someone who's maybe a bit more experienced starting. I think overall, not too bad. Best of what we got, really.
Best of what we've got. So, Neil, right, Dobra, we've had this conversation off air. We've had it on air. He starts this evening. Do you want a big performance from Armando Dobra? Because many have been calling for him. I have said he's not ready. I want to see a big performance. I'll put it out there.
I want to know why he's in the team. Has Lambert felt pressure, or is it just happened to come out this way? But
why? Yeah,
I want to see him do well, but only if he's ready to be in the team. In which I'm sure we'll soon find out.
I do feel a bit. I want to see a good performance, right? Because obviously many people have been calling for it. And you've got to deliver, really. I mean, it's a tough one. And I'll bring Lloyd in. Lloyd's joined us early. Lloyd, Dobra starts tonight. I've got a feeling you'll be happy about that. But what do you think?
I'm quite pleased with their starting lineup, to be fair. I do think Paul Lambert's done one of them things where he's kind of covered his arse a little bit in the sense of playing the team that everyone's sort of requested out for. I generally think Ipswich will win tonight. I think we'll win 2-0, maybe 2-1. I always say this. I think we always go into these games with these teams down sort of near the bottom. No, Oxford last year did really well. But more often than not, they do come out with the 3 points. Do I think it'll be convincing? No. Do I think we'll look pretty? No. Do I think we'll get 3 points? I do tonight. The question is where the goals are going to come from. And that's the big issue of Ipswich at the moment.
Are you surprised to see Hayden Jackson sit on the bench and Aaron Drynan start?
I love seeing young players do well. I just love it. But yeah, I think Hayden Jackson's been really hard done by so far this season. I know he's had these injury problems, but since he has been rearing to go, he has had very little minutes. If I was Jackson, I'd be very frustrated. But then again, does Hayden Jackson play all that well when he's up front on his own? I think when we got the best out of Jackson last year, Norwood with him, and I think that's where the question marks come around to 4-4-2 if we put someone next to him.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully Trian will have a good start today and maybe get a goal or so. I'd love to see that.
Absolutely. I'm going to have to leave it there, Lloyd, because there's some static on the line. So try and sort that out and hopefully come back to us at full time. We do appreciate you. He obviously mentions there, and I see in the chat that somebody says Aaron Drynan plays the system, Leando, better than Hayden Jackson. Neil.
That's fair, yeah.
Is that fair? I mean, is there a system for playing up front? It's scoring goals, fundamentally. Too many times we make this more confusing and technical than it needs to be, do we not?
In some ways, yeah. Drynan gets around the pitch. He doesn't seem like the out-and-out goal scorer that we really need, but he does a lot of the other work. And for whatever reason, Lambert prefers that. So... But yeah, we haven't really seen enough from Jackson this season anyway to really warrant complaining and saying, yeah, he deserves to start every game.
Not seen enough of him, Steve, but he was top goal scorer last year.
Top goal scorer last year, but and I think Lloyd said as well that he tends to work better when he's got two up front. So him and Norwood, great partnership last year. This season we haven't seen too much from him. I know he had a problem, and obviously he tested positive for COVID. But he does tend to work better when he's not alone up front. I think it's worth putting Drynan on just to see what he does, and then if it needs must, swap him. But in the second half, it's worth a go. Isn't it?
It needs. See that I don't like that. That's setting a player up to fail because more times than not, I've got a few like Reece Curtis in the chat. If it's 0-0 at half time, bring Jackson on, go 4-4-2. Ben King's dreading the game tonight. Ben, don't dread it. We're Ipswich Town. We should win tonight. Be positive, be confident. Sore feet. Evans clearly the manager tonight. That's not a Lambo team.
I sort of agree with that.
The cruncher. Jackson should be starting every day of the week. And I agree with that because let's put Charlton game into context, right? You go 2-0 down, you bring Jackson on. You even go goal down, you bring Jackson on. Is that the best position for a player coming onto the team? Would you not have rather gone a goal up with your best player and brought Aaron Drynan on for the last half an hour?
Yeah.
Or Ollie Hawkins or anybody. I'm struggling to see why.
I see your point.
We turned down bids in the summer. We've got a player under contract who is, if you listed from first to last, is in our top 5. Do you not play him if he's fit to sit on the bench?
Yeah, I see your point. As great as it is to see Drynan back, because he did have a good pre-season, maybe do the opposite of what I said. Start Jackson if he can get a goal or not. Because like you say, if you bring him on when he's 1-0, 2-0 down, he's got that pressure. And there's that pressure on him to get those goals back. And if he's not going to work well on his own up front, I think working on his own up front, Norwood is probably the best one we've seen. So it's just less pressure for Hayden having two. And obviously starting because he done on an even keel, he's not got to work harder to get a goal back. So, yeah, fair point.
Neil?
It's always the mix-up of, okay, yeah, he's our best striker, but if you throw him in straight away in a team that's not scoring goals and he doesn't end up doing what you need him to do, you then think, oh, how are we going to change it up? Where's the impact player off the bench? you haven't got him because he's already playing. Whereas if you play Dryan first, but that means actually doing subs when you need to do them, and not give them 5 minutes at the end, then he's your impact player.
Impact player. Don't like that. Don't like that traditionally, because it's Oxford, it's Ipswich. You play your best players. Full stop. Full stop. Any game, any level. Sunday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, don't matter. If I turned up to a Sunday morning team with my best player on the bench, I'd have the squad having me guts for guards. And rightly so. And I'm not saying Jackson's our best player, but in a team that's struggling for goals, I don't know how you justify leaving him on the bench. And I know Drinnan's the darling at the moment. I know he's got a big campaign behind him, etc. I just want score goals, and I'll love you. Simple as that. Looking into midfield, Bennett, Lancaster, and Dobra. It could be a 4-2-3-1. It could be a 4-3-3. It could be a 4-5-1. Who gives an absolute flying? It's something. It's those three up the front. Bennett or behind the striker. Bennett, Lancaster, and Dobra. We've mentioned Dobra. I want him to deliver, but Lancaster comes back in tonight. Are you excited to see what Jack can do? Does he need to provide something, a spark? I know Benjamin on Facebook's not his biggest fan. Steve,
I imagine my feeling for Dobra.
There we go. We've lost you. Reboot it. I'll bring Luke in while you reboot, Neil. Obviously, spoke about Hayden Jackson there, Luke. Welcome in, by the way. Lancaster, Bennett, and Dobra in midfield three. What are your thoughts on those three? Start with Dobra, because I know you want to talk about Armando Dobra, as everyone does.
I think he's a bright player. It does seem a bit strange, I guess, the lack of the injuries and that kind of thing. You see him coming into the starting 11. Personally, for me, I would have obviously if Edwards was fit, I would have liked to have seen Edwards and Bennett on the wing with Dobra coming off, because I think he's the kind of player that can impact games well. But obviously, with Judge's recent form, obviously only really leaves us Dobra on the wing. I think I'm quite impressed with that, really. Quickly though, back to your position, your point on Jackson. You would think though, out of all the strikers, considering obviously Norwood's injured, that Jackson probably is one of your fittest strikers, because obviously he had to self-isolate. Other than that, he played against the Sunderland game when we lost and that sort of thing. So he is the kind of fittest striker out of what we have. So it is a bit strange to see him not starting. Obviously, as I've said, and as a couple of people have said on here, he isn't particularly suited to the lone striker's role. But with someone like Dobra, who hasn't really been involved, surely you would think about starting Jackson on the wing. I know it's not his natural position, but someone like him with pace that can run at people is a weapon ready to have, really. But with the 5 subs, there is chances for them to change. Obviously, Lancaster as well. You're talking about. I think he's got a chance to have a big game today. Since he scored at Sunderland and obviously the Shrewsbury goal, he has looked a bit. As good as he is playing, he has looked a bit off in the last couple of weeks, as most of the players in the team have, to be honest. Every player playing today really needs to give us as fans some optimism that we really do need.
Yeah. Evening, Jacob. Welcome in. Cali, we shouldn't be putting too much pressure on our youngsters. Jack is an example. Potential has been a proven game changer, but is it fair to put that expectation on their shoulders? It's a fair point. Michael Brown, welcome in, Michael. The player should play without fear tonight. It's Lambert's job on the line, so the pressure should be less. Luke, you make a point there about Hayden Jackson not being a lone striker, and I'll just bring Neil back in. I see him waving at me. So if you bring Hayden Jackson into today's team off the bench, do you change the whole formation because he can't play up front on his own, or do you play him up front on his own? Like, if he can't, why is he almost there?
Yeah, it is a strange one. Like for me, I've done research on it and stuff, and when Lambert first came in the Championship, we had Ellis Harrison out injured. He ended up playing Jackson up front on himself, and there were most of the games that I saw him, he was getting swamped by defenders. It is kind of part of the reason why in games, especially when we're 1-0 down for what, to see him partnering someone up front, because I saw a lot last season. You could see how well he played with a strike partner alongside him, because I still feel as good as he is in terms of his pace and his finishing and he gets goals, I feel he struggles to deal with the physical aspect of the game. Like shrugging defenders off is not really his his forte. Having someone like Norwood last season alongside him gave him that kind of, he doesn't have to worry about that side of the game. He can get in positions, he can run at defenders, he can score. with him playing up front on his own, he has to do the whole of it, and I think that's where the struggles come from, really. I think we saw in the game against Charlton near the last couple of minutes of the game when they ended up actually playing Dryden up front with Jackson. He tends to get more of the ball, and even though we're not really creating much as anything, but the fact that he got into positions and he was just doing things is a strange one. Today, if we do go 1-0 down, which has been happening recently, you would like to think that bringing someone like Jackson alongside Drennan or Hawkins or who seems fit would benefit him more. But obviously, then we do come down to the point of recruitment, and maybe the fact that as good as he has been alongside a partner, if this is the long-term system that you want to play, you need to have people suited to that system.
Yeah, absolutely. And thinking about players suited to the system, Kieran Bennett, he gets a lot of love from me, but not a lot of love from other people. Is he a player that you're looking forward to seeing this evening, guys, individually? We'll start with Steve. Are you looking forward to seeing Kieran Bennett tonight? If so, why? And if not, equally, why not?
Yes and no. He's a good player. There's definitely a good player there. He can be a bit infuriating at times. I would rather one of our own players maybe more than a loan. I'm not disputing he's a great player and he does offer something, but I don't know. I'm still sort of on the fence about him, really.
Neil?
I'm not sure I'd use the term great player, but he's an okay addition. He's got some ability in his locker. Last game, even though we didn't play brilliantly, he got the ball, was on the turn quickly. He would drive into space, which are all very good things, but then he's got no end product. He'll get into an area where you think, right, do the next bit and something good will happen. And that's the bit every time he cocks up.
Define cocks up.
Okay. He's had the ball glued to his feet up to the point that he comes across someone and it will then bounce off behind him. He'll be looking around where the ball's gone. There's a pass to be made and he'll launch it 6 foot over a player's head for a throw in for the other team. The list goes on, but it's whenever you want something good to come out of it at the end.
Okay.
A great turn, a good bit of movement into space. That the next move is what he always messes up.
And Luke, what do you think about Bennett? Because I feel Neil's got a good point there, and he's made some really good points about Bennett. But I feel actually that's all part of the figuring out process with his team. They're getting on the same page. They're learning where maybe Bennett will put that round the corner ball into the channel. And that's where I think Jackson will be best, obviously, as well, because of those sort of runs. But they're all figuring those things out. The fact that Bennett is a player that gets on the ball, turns, and isn't afraid to run at people, isn't that something that we've missed at Town for a long time?
Yeah, I totally agree, really. You think of it, the fact that before Bennett has been starting games and making sub appearances, most of the minutes he was coming on was the 80th minute, which really he didn't really have a chance to affect the game. You look at a lot of players, people like Gibbs and McGavin who have come in recently. We always talk about keeping a settled side. Obviously, injuries doesn't help, but you're having to build relationships with people. And I really do agree with you in the fact that, we forever, we could do these like half-time and full-time things where we talk about players not taking on their man, not trying to make things happen. And look, at the end of the day, if people are trying to make something happen and using creativity, if he's going past his fullback and maybe the cross doesn't work, but he's always trying to do it, always trying to do something, no matter if he makes a mistake, it's good. I think from the other side, though, the other argument is the fact that when your team is fit, so someone like Edwards on the wing or whatever, it comes down to the thing of like you're benefiting someone else's younger player. But Bennett himself is only about 20, and you look at the fact that someone like Dobra, who maybe maybe in the fact that they're similar. Maybe Dobra needs to improve in terms of his physicality, which I see him. Sometimes he gets knocked off the ball, but the argument is the fact that if you're going to play Bennett in these games, why hasn't Dobra featured before? Because they do play similar styles, but in the fact that of Bennett, he is he is one of those players that, can make things happen. And today, if you're going to get the same thing today, you've got Dobra on one wing, Bennett's on the other, both players that like to commit their defenders, but be creative and make things happen. And, for the fact that the last couple of games, we haven't really had support because we've had, Judge on one wing, Bennett's on the other. Bennett has been playing more in some games right wing, and he's more naturally on his left. So I think with the way I've written the team down anyway, he seems to be putting on the left and Dobra on the right. Obviously, in them cases, you can switch it as well. You can put Dobra in for free and play him slightly more advanced and put Lancaster on the wing. So there's many ways they can do it. But I think, you want that from a player. Obviously, the argument is that we're not benefiting one of our own, but having someone that makes those risks and wants to get into the attacking third, that can only be a good thing.
Absolutely. And look, I'm just starting to lose the line because you're starting to go a bit fuzzy. So I'm just going to drop you out and bring Benjamin in, who's been waiting very so patiently. Benjamin, welcome in. Or welcome back, rather. Nice to see you.
Hi.
I've got Cali here. I want to start with this with you. Stat from Twitter. And Cali's an absolute legend, so I'm glad Cali's here with us. None of the front three have a league goal for the club. There's just 30 goals in that team. 17 have come from Chambers. What do you think of that stat?
I don't really know what to say. I mean, first of all, commiserations to everybody who's watching the game tonight. I feel sorry for you. The Champions League is on, so. But yeah, that's embarrassing, really. I mean, you can't blame the players because, in my opinion, the players are good enough. We have enough quality in this team to win games. But it's definitely the way Lambert is set up. And as somebody put on the comments earlier, Lambert is kind of reeking of desperation at the moment. Playing Dobra up front kind of proves that. So, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm expecting a loss tonight.
Are you really? Despite Oxford's lowly league position, only won 3 games all year?
Yeah, because there's such a negative atmosphere in the club. I don't know, people say, oh, Lambert's a motivator, but I just can't see him motivating this lot to win away at Oxford. Like, our recent form hasn't given us anything to work on, it hasn't given us anything to be positive about. So for me, again, I expect to lose tonight, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I doubt this will happen. I hope Lambert gets the sack after the game. But I think everybody's saying that. And as I said, I doubt that will happen.
Yeah. How do you marry up the opinion that you hold that the squad is really good with stats like that and your confidence in not beating Oxford?
I think a lot of it has, again, a lot of it goes down to the system. And Lambert is so adamant about playing one up front when we can't play one up front. Lancaster, no, I don't think he can play one up front. I think he'll struggle tonight. So for me, it's merely down to the system. If he played a 4-4-2, which Lambert would never go to, then maybe we will have a better chance. But again, I kind of go to the fullbacks there, Stephen Ward and Luke Chambers. In my opinion, they're too old to be fullbacks. I know they're not particularly wing backs, but they're not going to, rush up the pitch. They're not going to run up to the flanks and, cross balls into the box, if that makes sense. So, there are many things to say about why we aren't performing at the moment. Again, we do have good players. And just then I alluded to the 2 players who I think are a bit too old. But yeah, still.
Okay, right. Let's just take a step away, guys, from the team, if you like, for a second, but not the club. ONeill today coming out and saying confidence in Lambert. I want to get each of your thoughts. I'll start with Steve, then go to Neil, and we'll finish with Benjamin, and then we'll go to bold predictions. ONeill has confidence in Lambert. Is that your traditional confidence vote that is shortly followed by the sack, or do you truly believe
I really hope it's the confidence vote followed by the sack. I can't see how... I mean, I know this is Evans and ONeill we're talking about, but I can't really see how anyone can look at the recent run of form, the lack of progress since Lambert joined, and say that he's done a good job and that he's safe. Because, we started off well this season, but look what happened last season, and look what's happened now this season. So I think it's just, he's safe. We'll get tonight over and done with, and then off you go. I hope. But okay. I think we all know it's not going to go that way.
Neil, what do you think on it?
Ridiculous, really.
Short and to the point. Cruncher, ONeill, absolutely fucking clueless. Adam Flat, wouldn't expect anything else from board level, not going to throw him under the bus in public. Benjamin, what do you think? Did he have to say anything, really?
First of all, the one thing that, because I'm currently studying sports journalism at uni. The one thing that I've been taught is that every manager out there, every single player, they're all media trained. So when the press comes to them, basically they're told what to say beforehand, if that makes sense. And for me, what Lee O'Neill said was simply an example of that, an example of media training. So I'd literally take what he said with a pinch of salt. I don't think he meant it. Maybe he did. I don't know. But I think it was very much either Marcus or his media training basically making him say that, if that makes sense.
You can't imagine O'Neill coming on, because it's Radio Suffolk, you can't imagine him coming on there and going, yeah, to be honest, we're a bit concerned about Lambert. We're thinking of giving him the boot. He's not going to come out and say that.
Lee O'Neill was more than welcome on the show to come and say what he likes, because I think the comments section alone would grill him.
I was going to say, he'll get it right back. So, yeah.
Is it going to be like the old where Darren Bent said, I'm never leaving this club, I love the place, and then 2 days later, he was leaving?
Possibly so.
Exactly like that.
So. But yes, I mean, they are all media trained, as Benjamin says, and that's why you get the same trotted out PR interviews every time, because it's always just from a textbook. Really is. What more do you want them to say, really? I mean, they're not going to say, as somebody said, as Adam Flatt said, welcome in, Adam, he's not going to say, oh, no, we've got no confidence. It win tonight or he's on his ear. Just not going to happen. So, bold predictions for this evening. Oxford away. They've not won in a while. They've not kept clean sheets. Dobra starts. Benjamin, we'll start with you as you're our guest, technically. What are your bold predictions for this evening?
I'd say 2-1 to Oxford. Again, I'm not too confident going into this evening, and somewhat contradictory to what I said earlier, I have actually bought the match pass. But yeah, I reckon it's going to be a 2-1 loss. I'd like Dobra to score. But again, it'd be interesting to see what will happen after the game. I'm very interested to hear everybody's thoughts. Should we lose? Mm-hmm. Maybe if we win.
Neil, very quickly, because they're coming out.
1-1 maybe.
1-1. Dobra to score?
No.
Steve?
2-1 Town, Dobra and Lancaster.
Okay, and as Benjamin alluded to, we are back at half-time, but we are definitely back at full-time. We want to hear from you guys and have your say. I will just address this comment before you go. Why don't you put my comment on the screen? Well, you've not given us permission to use your name, so I can't tell who you are. So if I've missed it, it's because I didn't know who you were. But that's why. So we'll be back at full-time. Give permission. Get yourself on the screen. And, yeah, come on, you Blues. 3 points are incoming. We're going to do it. Relax.
Fingers crossed.